Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3, recognize our high school robotics team as they go to compete at the first Robotics World Championships.
So we are excited about our robotics team, but given tonight we didn't also want them to get stuck traveling back and forth, so we are going to have them come back to another board meeting and recognize them. But we are super excited that they qualified for Worlds, and it's really a lot of years. It's one of those quiet programs that we have that really does amazing things, and so we're hopeful we'll get a demonstration here for you guys, but we'll do that at a later board meeting. But good luck to them as they go to Worlds in Houston, and we wish them well, and congratulations as well.
Item 4, discussion and action to administer the oath of office and to seat Lisa Yates as board member for seat number 1.
All right.
Can you read it? I'm sorry.
What?
Can you read it?
Oh,
Yeah, just read
Okay.
the top one.
I don't put my hand on a Bible. Okay. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the state of America and the Constitution and laws of the state of Oklahoma, and that I will faithfully discharge, according to the best of my ability, the duties of my office or employment during such time as I am Bethany Public School Board member.
All right.
I swear. Thank you.
Nice work.
Now I'm seated.
Yes. All right. Item 5, reorganization of the Board of Education in accordance with 70 OS Section 5-1-119.
So this is something we do every year, but it's just something that we'll put on the agenda, and I think historically you guys have done 2-year-ish rotation, so this would just be a motion to basically do the same thing.
I make a motion to reorganize the board as follows.
And then you'll say like Chad Jaggers is president, Kent Wallstad is vice president, Lisa Yates is clerk.
Okay. To Chad Jaggers will remain as president. Kent Wallstead will remain as vice president. Morgan, remind me your name. Last name. Reiner will remain as the. You are the.
I'm the
Just member.
As a member.
and I'm
Lisa
the,
Yates will
what
be
am I?
the
Clerk.
The clerk, and Angela Palmer will be a member.
Correct.
Thank you.
We have a second?
Second.
No. Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Reiner?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. All right, item 6, consent agenda. 6A is to approve the minutes of the March 10th, 2026 regular board meeting. 6B is discussion and possible action to approve the following contracts, agreements for fiscal year 26. A, D. Massey Consulting contract. B, All for Fun contract. 6C, discussion and possible action to approve the following contracts, agreements for fiscal year 27. A, OSP contract high school. B, Lobdeck drug testing agreement. C, physical therapy services contract. D, Oklahoma rehabilitation work study agreement. E, Kellogg and Sovereign E-rate filing. F, United Systems E-rate category 2 internal broadband contract. G, United Systems E-rate category 2 internal connections contract. H, United Systems E-rate category 2 basic maintenance contract. I, D, Massey Consulting contract. J, OKTLE contract for fiscal year 27. K, ImageNet agreement. 6D is discussion and possible action to approve the following out-of-town / out-of-state / out-of or overnight trips. A, Martinez AP Summer Institute for June 22nd through 25th of 2026 in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. B, Special Education Professional Development June 27th through 30th, 2026 in Dallas, Texas. And C, band trip to Florida, April 16th through 19th. 6E, approve the additions to the following activity funds account: 1, baseball, 805, 2, athletic director, 819, 3, band, 903, 4, BHS cheer, 905, 5, class of 2028, 911, 6, elementary fund, 913, 7, POM, 940. And lastly, 6F, approve the financial fund reports.
Okay, so on the financials, activity fund, our balance is pretty close to our starting balance. Nobody's in the negative. Not much more to talk about there. We're doing good in activity fund. On the function summary, some stuff I would talk about here is, right now we're encumbered for $17,480,000 if you add encumbered and expended. We're kind of looking at, we're definitely looking at finishing up the year and making decisions on what we need to do. What I would say is, I'm projecting out that our carryover, we're going to have a carryover of about 3.8 million or less, because you can only carry over so much. And so that's the number where we're at. And we're definitely going to have some money to spend on certain things here as the months go. So we're doing really good financially. One thing I would add there is a law right now, I think they ran it last year too, to do away with the carryover penalty. We're kind of monitoring that. Don't know what'll happen and exactly when the effective date would be if they do pass it. Like I said, I think they ran a very similar bill last year and it didn't pass, but you have to watch these things, and just letting you guys know what's going on.
I do think it's gaining ground, more so than last year. Last year there was some back and forth on ideology of that. This year it seems to be shifting a little bit more towards kind of giving that freedom to districts, but we'll see.
How would you all feel about that? What would be your thought on it?
I'll let you start.
I would say, I think you have to spend money on education for the children. I think you want to set an amount to where this is what we're going to try to carry over every year, because something might happen like the roof, where, you know, if you had to spend $2 million on a roof, you would not want that to completely deplete your savings. And then I think you try to stay around that amount is one thought. It's going to fluctuate, just because different years you need different things. But you can let it build up a little bit to spend on different stuff too. But I think you go in with kind of an idea of, this is what we think is a good safety net, as far as if anything big did happen and we had to spend a lot of money to keep the school running, we would still have a safety net after that to build it back up to where we want to be year over year.
Yeah. So, and I'd just add to that, you know, in our situation where bonding is a tricky thing and we can't bond for a whole lot, you would like to be able to save for some bigger facility needs that would take years to build up. The political issue with that is, as districts do that based on their individual needs, all of a sudden the state legislators are going to look at those funds being really, really big and growing and say they don't need any more money. Look, they've got all this money sitting there. So that's been the balance of where people have talked about it is, yeah, individually we feel like we could manage that very well and build to some bigger projects, but there is a risk also of it being viewed as, man, look, you've got everyone has all this money just sitting there, spend the money before we're going to give you any more, even though that's not exactly what's playing out. So I would love the flexibility personally, but I would hate for that to be used against us down the road.
Right.
Is that money earmarked in some way? Or is it just money to be spent however we want to?
Some of it is earmarked. Like, you get funds for textbooks that you can carry over and eventually have to spend it.
Mm-hmm.
So different things like that are earmarked. I think, to give you a historical perspective, and it's been a while since I looked at it, but in the past, and I'm talking probably 5 or more years ago, I think the carryover ran around 1.5 to 2-ish. I would think now with what everything costs and stuff, you know, it really depends on what revenue you're bringing in, on what you can do and what you can carry over. But that would be, I mean, you wouldn't want it to be any lower than that, just
Right.
because things cost so much. And if there was a big event that you had to, roof is a good example. I know we just replaced it, but you know, after so many years, you're footing the majority of the bill for a roof after it's been depreciated so many, and so that's a big capital outlay. That
Yeah, but not for a while.
yeah, not for a while.
We just did it.
Not for a while.
Yeah, right.
I'm just using that as an example.
I would think that would be one of your biggest expenses, would
Yeah.
be the roof.
Yeah.
I'm assuming insurance cover something catastrophic happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say too, you know, it's nice to have that a little bit more. We've talked about since we've started with some investments that are, you know, turning out anywhere around 100,000 or a little bit over 100,000. So if we have that money built up, you're making more on those investments, which in turn is just that kind of free money that is not in the budget to some degree. So if you whittle that down, you're just going to be getting less on those types of investments. So for us, you know, that's a big amount of money, you know, to utilize. So
This
there's benefit.
this
And,
year so
and
far.
we have the freedom to do that. We have the freedom to invest how we want.
Well, not how you want.
Okay.
Not just however you want. So this year we've earned interest in 190,000. Basically, you can't have it in anything that's at risk. You know, you can't have it in like a CD that is FDIC insured and stuff like that. You couldn't go like stocks or
Yeah.
you know. So there are some limitations, but you can. And what ours is in is a CD.
Yeah.
And a money market. We have a setup where we've got a good chunk in a CD that earns the highest interest rate, and then you need some funds to be liquid. So we have a money market that
Right.
earns less, but you know
You can take from it.
it's a sweep. It sweeps in and out because we have set what we want in our actual checking account every day. And then I mean, you don't really earn much on your checking account. So that's kind of the way we've stair-stepped it. So
You talked about a carryover penalty. Is that a dollar threshold or a percentage of budget threshold, or what?
it's, I think it's 17%, and then they back out federal funds. So I have an Excel that does the calculation. So I say 3.8, and I've done a projection on what I think revenue is going to be. So it's 17% of revenue. So it could fluctuate. You're not going to be exact, you know, but
But at this point, you've got a pretty good idea,
a
right?
pretty good idea. Yeah.
So a question I have, when we carry that over, does it carry over from year to year? So if I carry over 3.8 this year, and so by the end of next year, I still have 2.4 of that left. Does that add on to whatever I'm carrying over?
Can you say that again?
Okay.
I think maybe
Like it's like building on top of it?
Yeah,
So
right.
basically
So
we
my
would take-
savings account, if I have 2.8 this year and I've got 1.5 next year, but I don't use, you know, more than 2, I still have some left over from this year that carries over into next year and the year after.
So I would say, let me say what's gonna happen, and I think that will
Okay.
answer your question. So last year we carried over about 4,320,000. At the end of this year, kind of our target is 3.8, and it's 3.8 total. So you may use some of that. You will use some of that 4.4.
Yeah.
So it's not, you're not adding them together.
Okay.
If,
Yeah, right,
If that's
right.
the question.
So you'll spend 600-ish
Because
thousand
I
more
spent
than
part of that
last
4
year.
million
To
that
get-
we
Right,
carried over.
correct.
I spent part of it.
Correct.
Because I'm able to spend part of it
Yeah.
Yeah.
throughout the
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So the way they would show it, and it's shown in our financials in like when we do the budget in October is, you know, you're expecting revenue of around 17 million plus you carried over 4.4. So that's a total of 21.4.
Right.
And everything's based on that 21.4.
I see.
We're going to use, you know, say we use 17.5, and then we've got, I think I did the math right, 3.9 left. Is kind of how it works. So you're taking 21.4 minus, you're trying to hit, 17.5 or whatever that number ends up being to work out to the correct carryover.
I see. So the bill that is before the legislature, it wouldn't take effect for this year, because it's got to pass by the end of May. Probably won't pass till the very end of May.
Sure.
When all those things do. And so it's not going to be it's not going to affect this year's carryover.
Yeah.
It may start in June, which may be.
Right.
Yes.
We may have one more year.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably
What-
so. Probably more likely that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I would add to that is you get 1 year's grace as far as you don't get penalized the first year.
Oh, I
that
see.
You do, I don't think you want to
Right.
be in that position.
Right.
But so
Strategically, you could
Yeah.
be, but
Okay.
yeah. The good thing about that too is typically in that situation, you're going to be looking at, a lot of people use the term spend down. You're not going to do that with personnel because that's going to be ongoing cost, but you're going to do that with spend down. So maybe there's some facility needs or some upgrades that you've been kind of looking at, but wanted to be sure. This would be the kind of time of year to look at those lists and say, okay, we need to get down to this number. What would we want to improve to get there, and kind of be a one-time expense thing. So we're kind of in that stage as well.
Yeah.
I would say as far as the bill goes, there's arguments for and against, and there's good arguments both ways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's good
Sure.
arguments both ways.
Yep.
And then the last thing on the financials I would talk about our board tracking sheet. So this is kind of what I use to project revenue. Basically what I did is take what we've collected so far and then looked at what we collected past that point last year and added it on. I think that's the most accurate you can get. But you'll see on the board tracking sheet, in some areas like interest, we're starting to get to the point where if it's positive, we've over collected. And there are areas where we know we're going to collect that exact amount, like foundation and instead of aid. That's what the state gives us every year, and that calculation's done around September, and then they adjust it in January. So certain numbers we know it's pretty much going to be that exact amount. And then I think a lot of these will over collect on federal funds. I know we're going to over collect on some, and there may be some that it's going to be close, is what I would tell you. So, but total, I think we're going to over collect. Any questions on the board tracking sheet?
Help me understand 4210 a little bit more, disadvantaged students.
That's Title I.
Okay.
And so our elementary and middle school are Title I, and you can use that. Basically it's saying it's based on how many students you have to have if over 35% of your students are on the National Lunch Program, then you qualify for Title I, and that's just additional aid to help do different things like we do some teacher aids out of there. We buy some software out of there to help out with their learning and stuff.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Should I make a motion to, I will make a motion. Not should I? I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Reiner.
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes. Okay, item seven. Approve the general fund non-payroll encumbrances for fiscal year 26, number 467 through 509, $52,612.54. The fiscal year, yeah. Am I right in that? Yeah. The fiscal year change orders for general fund, $8,108.49. The general fund payroll, number 70,000 through 70,637, of $13,414,257.36, and the fiscal year 26 building fund non-payroll number 24 of $94,199.02.
So, there's some bigger POs in here, and there will probably be some more bigger POs as we end out the year. I think there's definitely two that I would talk to you guys about. 481 to the carpet store, or indoor, out at the facility.
Yeah.
The floor's been bubbling up and stuff, and it's in pretty bad condition. It's probably a trip hazard.
Yeah, it's a trip hazard,
And
for
the
sure.
floor needs to be replaced, and so that's what that is there. And then,
I know we replaced the floor out there one time. We put in a whole new floor out there. Is that the same
So
flooring we put in the weight area or something?
So we put in inlays
Yeah,
where the
right.
weights are.
For the bounce.
Yeah, this is the flooring around that. So the inlays are in good shape, but the flooring that had been there for, man, we tried to go back and, I don't know, 20 plus, maybe closer to 30 years.
I think the number
It's a long time.
I
Maybe
was told was 20 years.
20 years, okay.
Okay.
So this is the flooring, not the inlays.
Okay.
And so this would be the flooring around the inlays.
Perfect.
Yeah.
One more in general fund, and then obviously if you guys have any questions, I'll answer them. On 508 to ImageNet Consulting, we are required to have shot clocks in basketball now, and so that's what that is you have to have them now. I believe this year.
Next year it'll take effect.
Well, yeah, next year it'll take effect. Yeah, that's what I meant. And then out of building fund, the big PO is PO 24, and this is what we discussed last board meeting, but last board meeting was a little hectic with the weather and stuff. The video board for the high school gym, and that's also from ImageNet Consulting for $94,000.
So with that, I'll say, we looked at a lot of different options for this. This is a company that we also use for our copiers. Just happened to use them for that. We did look at a lot of other options and a lot of different quality of boards. There's pixels and all kinds of things you can look at. This would be for a board on both sides of the gym. So a bigger one like we have now and a smaller one like we have now, but they'd both be digital. And this is I would say middle of the road or above average quality. I mean, you could have gone cheaper for sure, and you could go way more expensive, but this is a nice board for our space, and should last a long time. So, and this is also in connection with the plan we hope to and plan to implement with Mrs. McCann and advertising and all of those things. So should have a opportunity to get advertising that we can put up there, and then obviously use those per game, volleyball, basketball, assemblies, all the things. So we're excited about this, and also mostly excited. I mean, for me, I know the experience will be nice, but I'm mostly excited about the opportunity to bring some funds in to spread out to our activities so that the cost for kids and families goes down, because we're able to pick up some of that fundraising that we're currently having to do to pay for things, and hopefully get some advertising through local community partners. So
Remind me that did we approve the 94,000 last board meeting? I just don't see it on here.
It was just a discussion item, and maybe we discussed more of the advertising.
yeah, this is part of that advertising. So Mrs. McCann is
She was given
going
that
to
thing
be
when that happened.
Right.
yeah, kind of a community liaison or
Yeah.
coordinator for that, going out to seek it. Where we're at now is, you kind of have to commit to having a board as you seek to get those advertisements. So this is kind of that commitment of, okay, yeah, we feel like we can do it, let's do it, and start getting advertising. So
It was number 5 if you're looking on last.
On last month's.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
So, with regard to that, do you ever do like a profit and loss on a particular project like that? Like here we would have the scoreboard, the shot clocks, and then all the money that she raises with her community fundraising that she's gonna do. And then you would give us as a board where we're at.
Yeah, so I would compare it kind of to our energy saving initiative that we had with Mr. Mont. We installed a lot of digital system basically, and then a couple different times he's kind of reported back. This was a couple months saving. Now he's done kind of a full year savings, and I can't remember the percent, but it was 29% maybe off the top of my head. So
I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
I mean, in the future, if we do this, just see, where we
see
are
where we're at.
in
Absolutely.
offsetting that expense.
It's very trackable.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think we've had a project exactly like this where we've been advertising.
Yeah, right.
We do have the Mercy contract, but there was no capital outlay.
Right.
Profit and loss it.
Yeah, you weren't getting donations for it either.
yeah.
Right.
Most of it has been done at the program level, so basketball does it themselves, and they kind
Right.
of bring in a few banners and things like that. So this will be kind of a new thing that kind of bringing in money for all of the programs collectively as a community. So, and we will be tracking that closely because we're also looking at creating that opportunity for Mrs. McCann to be that community partner liaison, and obviously we want to make sure that is something that is worth her doing that.
Worth
And so,
doing, sure.
and she knows that as well, that that's kind of something we're exploring right now. And if it goes really, really well, then it's justified to keep going. And if it doesn't go well, then we probably need to rethink things. So,
Right.
yeah, that's great. We will report back, through the years how that's going.
Yeah.
And it's all going into one activity account, so it'll be really easy to attribute.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the encumbrances as presented.
Can I ask a question first?
Sure. Yes.
The only thing I saw was the quantity of Amazon purchases for like office supply related things. Do we not have a local office supply vendor that keeping the local money more local for something like that, or is it just a convenience? Or what?
I don't know if in the past, I know in the recent past, what people like to use is Amazon a lot. And as to the kind of the mass amount here is we tell people have your POs in before April 1st. Now there are going to be POs after April 1st.
Sure.
But because we're trying to start closing down and seeing how many POs are going to be closed down and what amount of expenses we're not going to have to see where we can use it in other places. But in the recent past, I would say we've always used Amazon, and I think people like it for a convenience thing. We have used Office Depot, I think some. I think the Office Depot store we particularly use actually closed for paper and stuff, just because I think they had a little better deal depending on the time.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Reiner?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 8, discussion and possible action to approve the revisions to the following board policies. GFB, complaint procedure, parent and staff. DER1, salary schedules.
So the first one, the complaint procedure for parent staff, we realize we've talked about this a lot about, it's important to go through the proper channels and proper steps. What we have realized is we don't actually have that in writing anywhere. So yes, it's our philosophy, and yes, it's something we will encourage parents to go through the appropriate steps up the chain, if you will. But we didn't have anything to reference, and we didn't have it in handbooks, but because we didn't have it in the policy. And so this is just putting our philosophy of what we already tell parents, hey, start with the teacher, then if that doesn't work out, then go to a principal. If that doesn't work out, then go to the superintendent. And then always at the end of the day, if I have something I'm not able to resolve with a parent, then I would encourage them to seek out the board and go that route too. That part is actually not in here
Right.
due to some personnel factors that could come into play. So, and the best I could describe it as if a complaint is about a specific teacher, that is potentially going to become a personnel issue for that teacher, then the board shouldn't hear that complaint until it gets to a due process situation. So OSSBA recommended to us that we not put that in here, but that I just communicate with that parent. And obviously the email is on the website too, so they always can email you guys as well. But I would take that based on what the complaint, if it's, the grass is too long, then obviously I would say, this is something we can't resolve, go to the board. That's a silly example, but if it's something where I know a teacher's position may be in jeopardy, then I wouldn't recommend them to go to the board at that place, because there may be other steps in the works that you guys shouldn't necessarily be a part of until it gets to that level. So, but otherwise it's pretty standard to what we practice. It's teacher or coach, then principal or their direct supervisor, then principal's direct supervisor, which is me, so on and so forth. So, and then any questions about that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So do you have difficulty with parents abiding by this procedure?
Well, actually, I was gonna say no, not a lot, but I will say in Bethany in particular, it is a little bit tricky because so many people know so many people. And just as an example for me, I was an elementary principal here for a very long time. I have, friends, and my kids have friends, and so it's real easy for somebody to walk up to me very casually and have maybe a non-casual conversation, where it does get a little more technical. And so if you're drawing the lines of family friend versus superintendent, and I have to very carefully separate those roles, well, that would be an example of where this can get blurred a little bit. And in
How does
Bethany,
this
that
help,
happens a
though?
lot. Do what?
How does this help you?
So if any parent comes to me and says, hey, I have a problem with teacher A, my first question is, in practice, is, have you had a chance to talk to the teacher about that? Now, typically it's gonna be a specific issue. So let's say it's a grade. Hey, my kid has a D in this class and the teacher hasn't posted the grades in 3 weeks. Let's just make up an example. Well, my first question to that parent is gonna be, have you had a chance to talk to the teacher about that? And if the answer is no, then I'm gonna say, okay, you really need to talk to them first, because they're gonna know the most information about that. And that's in practice, that's what we want to.
And you would do that today.
Today I would do that.
Yeah.
So in practice, we're already doing this.
Right.
But if that parent said, well, I don't want to talk to that teacher, I just want you to fix this, that's where we didn't really have anywhere that it says that's actually how it's supposed to work. Then it's just me saying that's how I want it to work versus them wanting to do that or not. So this gives a little more teeth to that of like, no, you really do need to go talk with them first, and then just go through that channel. So it hasn't been a real issue of anybody really saying, well, I'm not going to do that, but it does come up where, again, they just want to jump to the people they know as opposed to going through those steps. And most times whenever they go back to that teacher, they maybe learn some information that they weren't aware of, because there is very specific, and certainly I don't have that information. Right. So it is definitely best practice, and this just gives both the principals and myself, and honestly the teachers, an avenue to say, we really do need you to go through the proper communication steps so that we can get the right information to you. And then if it doesn't work, you're not satisfied, then we just keep working it up. So, and we will add this also to student handbooks as well, just to let them know that this is what we would hope that would happen. It's just good communication, and so we're just able to say, yes, it is also policy that you follow that, not just we prefer you to do that. Any other questions about that one? Okay, and then the next one is just salary schedules. We've recently kind of come across, you see that top line. The first line of that is what we had. Now when we change policies, this is probably one of those things that got tweaked a little bit, maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally. I would say probably unintentionally. The first line of that is something that was what we had in place, what we've learned is that that can be very limiting as you're looking to recruit and hire. So what that says is basically we will look at a teacher's credit for years of what the State Department of Education will credit. Well, there are times where that can vary a little bit. In the example of, say, for example, there's a teacher that comes out of state, and let's say we need a physics teacher that are some of those hard to find positions. Well, right now, as our policy is written, we would be stuck to, we can only give you credited years for what the State Department deems is appropriate. So as an example, if they worked in another state for 10 years, but the State Department only gives them 5 years, but they're saying, well, I can go to your school or I can go to another school, but the other school, their policy allows them to give those 5 extra years. Our policy wouldn't allow that, and so we could not make that adjustment to try to get that teacher here based on those years of experience. That, again, we'll have to use logic, and honestly, we would use it very sparingly anyways, because typically those years are going to match up pretty well. But we also, my thought is we don't want to limit this board's ability to say, here's a very hard position to find, and with the correct logic and it makes sense, if we really want this good teacher, then we might be able to give them years experience for things that they've done outside of that. So, and we kind of have seen that a little bit where other districts' policies, I looked at a lot of different district policies, and about half of them have something like this that we're looking to change, and about half of them have it kind of like what we have it at. One allows a little more flexibility to possibly recruit and hire good people for hard to find positions. One is very black and white. There's positives and negatives to both. Black and white is black and white. The thing that I would be worried about, and the reason I'm recommending this change is, I think there are going to be some circumstances where if you have a position that's hard to find and you know your best top candidate is someone that you want, and you're talking about a matter of 5 years experience, 10 years experience, 15 years experience, and it makes logical sense, I think we would say we would much rather pay, a difference of $3,000 to $5,000 on the steps to get that person here than have them go to another district because our policy is black and white and says we can't do that. And so that's where. But again, we would want to use that sparingly because obviously you want good people, but you also want to be wise financially, and so that would just be case by case basis as well. So
speaking from ignorance on this, you
Yeah.
gave the example of going from out of state to in state. How does that work if somebody teaches at SNU for 20 years and wants to come across the street?
Yeah.
Are those one-to-one, or is that?
I think well, you want to go ahead? And
I would say the State Department only gives you years for years that you have been a teacher in a public school in Oklahoma.
Okay. So this
K
would
through
give
12.
K through 12.
This
Correct.
would give you the freedom to say there is a math teacher at SNU that now wants to teach at Bethany, and then you have the ability to credit those 20 years of service as like for like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We would also look at things like TRS, teacher retirement system,
Okay.
because those things don't always match. So someone may have credited years in teacher retirement system, but the State Department doesn't acknowledge those, as he said, as teaching years. And so sometimes you have variances that way also. It's just I guess to them it's a very black and white system as well, right? Well, what they're willing to credit, there's 5 years of out of state, things like that. So and so what our current policy says is we're basically letting or having the State Department of Education dictate those years to us. The good thing about that is it's very consistent. It is what it is, and that's what it's going to be, and it's good in that way. The bad thing is if you get in a situation where you really need, you really want to hire somebody who's good and you feel like is the right person for the job, it gives you a little bit more room to maybe, kind of negotiate those years to get them to a place where. And the biggest reason for the change, I would say, is because our competitors surrounding us have policies like this. And so if we are truly recruiting the same teacher and they're that good, we will lose a lot of the time, because they're gonna go make 5,000 more because that district's saying, well, we'll give you those 10 years, where we are black and white stuck saying, we can only give you, say, 5. And my fear would be, I don't wanna lose those battles, because this is really about putting people in front of kids, and I would hate to lose out on the best person put in front of kids because of the State Department saying, well, they get this many years, and another district having a policy more like this.
We have a motion?
Make a motion to approve board policies GFB, complaint procedure, parent to staff, and DE-R1 salary schedules.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Walston?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Reinert?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 9, discussion of ongoing operational replacement plans and potential upcoming projects.
So about this time last year, we reported to the board a plan to kind of keep up with some larger expenses that would come up, and you'll see this is a very similar plan to that. The reason we have this on here today is just to kind of report to you guys kind of where we're at on this plan and keeping up with this plan. It's great to have a replacement plan, but only if you stick to it. And so I may let Mr. Jasper kind of talk you through some of these things, and I'm happy to follow up as well. But so we would be on fiscal year 26, and just kind of want to report back like some of the things that we've been able to do to stay in line with this plan.
Yeah, so this plan is really, I did not make changes because it's a good plan. What I did do is go estimate we had better estimates of what the cost is going to be for FY26, and so I did update those amounts. But I like you guys being able to see what we've done in the past, and I'm going to go through this and kind of say these are things we did off the operational plan in the past, and then these are things that were on it for FY26 that we're planning on doing or we don't think we need, and this is what we think we're going to do instead. So for FY25, we ended up being able to do all of that. I think there were a few miscellaneous repairs, but other than that, we did get 2 buses. We did replace 12 HVACs. We did strip down and redo the west parking lot, student desks. We did a lot of technology devices. And what I would say on this plan is these are things that if you get behind on, that you can get in a really bad situation. For example, we have, Mr. Mont is not here, but he said we have around 110 HVACs. And they have an estimated useful life in between 15 and 20 years. So if you divide that out, it's anywhere from, if you had to replace, you'd have to replace anywhere from 5 to 7 a year. If you were gonna add that, if you were gonna divide that out over 15 or 20 years, right? And so, and most of the ones we're planning on doing are, 15 or 20 years old and need replaced. But you also, if you're having problems with them, it's something I think you want to stay on, because you don't want to get to a point where you're replacing 50 HVACs in 1 year, is what I would say. And so that's why we want to have a replacement plan. So for FY26, number 1, we got a new people mover this year for special services. It has, the ability to people in like a wheelchair. It has that wheelchair access and stuff. So we've already done that one. Other ones we're looking at are the north parking lot. That's $345,000. It is a complete tear out, and also what we've looked at is removing that curb.
Yeah.
Since
I fell in that parking lot not too long ago, all the way down.
On a crack, was it like a
Yeah,
crack?
it's cracked.
Yeah.
It's bad.
And I've had many conversations with Mr. Mont, and he said, at some point it will have to be replaced. And right now we have the money to do it, and you don't want to get to a point where it's a big expense. You don't want to get to a point where you're stretching money to do it if if we can't carry over as much money in the future.
Yeah.
And so that's the
That's a
thinking
big
and,
one, I'd say.
and the strategy behind that.
I'll add one more thing to that too. Originally, we had looked at, I mean, even last year, that price would have said around $200,000. That obviously has gone up now, but part of that too is we always have the option of resurfacing, but Mr. Mott said that our parking lot has deep cracks in it, and if you just resurface, it's just a matter of time before those come back. So it's a difference of, you know, a 5-year fix and then you're right back, or this, from what I remember him telling me, is more like a 15 to 20 year fix. So it should be much better. And so for us, we feel like it's better to go ahead and do the 330. I think it's 330 is what we're looking at now.
45.
Yeah,
About
345.
or 345.
I overestimate things.
That's good. We like that. We feel like it's better to do that and get 15 to 20 years because, again, we have other things we want to be spending money on, and so we don't want to keep worrying about this every few years. So that would be something that we would look to do.
The next one is HVACs, which is, we have some bids on this board meeting. It's a little less than 105. Like I said, I like to overestimate just to be conservative. Priority 4 is a new bus. We do not think we need a new bus. We got 2 new buses last year. What we're looking at there is our van fleet really needs some updates, and not sure if we'll go vans or other 8 passengers, but that's kind of what we're looking at there as far as doing that. Technology devices, the kids can check out Chromebooks, and those Chromebooks, we live in an age where you have to have the ability for kids to use computers. I would say Chromebooks, they don't last as long as other computers. You can't buy en masse Macs, so I would say that's what you run into there. And then student desk, we always want to try to make sure, and I think we're doing a lot better, have done a lot better on making sure our desks are in good condition, but there's still some out there that need replaced. And then there's just a few more, I think, rooms where there's some carpet that we're looking at replacing. And then I would take any questions.
One thing I'd add to that before you have questions, if you look to fiscal year 27, you'll see like a security vehicle there. We were able to do that. So there are some, maybe that's the only one, but well, obviously the HVAC units, we did a lot more than the original plan of 2. We did 9 because we need to, and we can. But then the security vehicles, there are some things that we're even looking ahead to, if we can, and it makes sense. So just a couple things there, but
Yeah.
and this isn't an action item, so.
Okay. Item 10, discussion and possible action. AMM mechanical bid, $101,500 to replace 9 HVAC units for the 6th grade hallway and other middle school rooms per request for proposal bid. Results received Monday, March 30th of 2026.
Of these 3 that bid, AMM, we've used them in the past, correct?
Yeah.
Or we've used all of these folks, I believe, in the past. haven't we?
Yeah.
Last year we used Hardesty.
Okay,
I think we've used AMM for some other stuff,
okay.
but last year the HVACs were Hardesty.
Why is theirs not separated out between base bid and alternate?
I don't believe they turned in a bid for, I think we did a bid for 6 and additional 3. And I think they turned in just a total bid. They just wanted to do 9.
So the base bid is the 6, and then the alternate bid is the 3. They just bid it all together and
Yeah.
didn't separate it out.
Does that impact decision making as far as like if chose to only do 6 since they did not turn in a price for the base bid? Or is the recommendation to just do the 9?
Yeah, the recommendation is to do 9.
Yeah.
Have we had good experience with them in the past?
Yeah, I mean, so the bid is not always just lowest price, it's also just best bid, and so we feel good about the quality of work and the price combined. So, but we could take, in theory, you could take a higher bid if you feel like it's a better bid.
So with, sorry for all the questions.
No, you're good.
New stuff. So with your RFPs, is it lowest, most qualified, and what are the criteria that the school has for that?
This is where we need Mr. Mon here.
We really do. He's the one that's done bidding in the past because he worked for a college and stuff. What I would say is we've used them in the past and they've done quality work and it's the lowest bid. And so I think that's why he would recommend it. But.
Yeah, I'd have to defer to him because I will say he does as good a job as I think we've had in this process. I mean, he knows how it works. He knows the proper way to do it, and he definitely does it that way. So,
I make a motion to approve AMM mechanical bid to replace 9 HVAC units.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Reiner,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes. Item 11, discussion and possible action on the 2026-2027 temporary financial appropriations.
So on the temporary financial appropriations, this is something you have to do every year. It's based on, the numbers you see are based on the estimate of needs that we had in the fall. And, you know, basically you guys vote on it and then we take it to the county board. And this is what allows us to start encumbering and spending money next year before we've approved the estimate of needs in the budget.
I make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 temporary appropriations.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Reiner,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes. Item 12, staff reports.
So appreciate you guys allowing staff to be gone today. You can see their reports there, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer what we can. But busy time of year, I know that, and they've got a lot of things going on. So put some good highlights there too.
On the subject of busy time of year, you know, it's April 14th. It's tax time, and I was just thinking, you know, a year ago, I know when I would be getting home at night, and so thank you for hiring me.
Hey, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're here.
Glad you're here.
Yeah. Item 13, proposed executive session. Item 13A, vote to convene or not to convene.
Make a motion to vote to convene into executive session.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Reiner,
Yes.
Jaggers.
Yes. The record reflect that the board voted to enter into executive session at 6:53 p.m. and returned from it at 7:59 p.m. The board discussed only agenda items number 13, employment of employees. No votes or actions were taken. Only the board and the superintendent, Dr. Ruben Bellows, were present in the executive session. Item 14, discussion and possible board action on the resignations of employees in Addendum A as authorized by 25 OS 307B1.
I make a motion to approve the resignations of employees in Addendum A as authorized by 25 OS 307B1.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Reiner?
Yes.
Discussion and possible board action on the hiring of employees in Addendum B as authorized by 25 OS 307B1.
Make a motion to approve the hiring of employees in Addendum B as authorized by 25 OS 307B1.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Reiner?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 16, discussion and possible board action on the hiring of employees in Addendum C as authorized by 25 OS 307B1.
Make a motion to approve the hiring of employees in Addendum C as authorized by 25 OS 307B1.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Reiner?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 17, discussion and possible board action on the hiring of employees in Addendum D as authorized by 25 OS 307B1.
I make a motion to approve the hiring of employees in Addendum D pending background check as authorized by 25 OS Section 307B1.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Wallstad?
Yes.
Yates?
Yes.
Reiner?
Yes.
Jaggers?
Yes. Item 18, informational items.
All right, so we have no school on Friday, April 17th. That's also a long night. We'll be watching the weather for that as well, but looking forward to that day and that evening. Also, the all-school musical is coming up April 23rd through the 25th. Great tradition in Bethany. Looking forward to that performance. Running Through Roadblocks was moved to April 30th, so that's coming up. Staff Appreciation Week is May 4th through the 8th. High School Decision Day. We're excited about hearing all the decisions our seniors have made to venture out into a lot of different paths that they may have chosen. So that is May 5th, and if you have an opportunity to come to that, we would encourage you to do that. It's a fun day to kind of see and let other kids see decisions kids are making as seniors, and hopefully.
Is that like in the gym?
It is in the gym, and
Okay.
they get to kind of announce, what kids are going to what college or employment or enlistment. It's fun. It's kind of a change from awards that we've done in the past, and it just recognizes, the different paths that kids can take these days. And it was a lot of fun last year, and looking forward to it again. And then we have Bethany Middle School Awards ceremony on May 11th. So look forward to celebrating our middle schoolers.
Item 19, board member comments. Item 20, superintendent report.
Very good. I'll be quick so we can get our cars out of the weather. But home stretch of the year, so it's a busy time of year, as we all know. We do have testing season coming up, so appreciate all of our test coordinators in getting that organized. Also, just want to encourage our kids for all their hard work, and just encourage them to show that as they take their tests here at the end of the year. We also have SWAT week that just occurred, and I want to say thank you to all the coordinators of that and student leaders. Just a great cause and a great community event. Again, want to congratulate our robotics team and wish them well as they travel to their competition. We also are looking forward to Staff Appreciation Week. Thank the foundation for helping us to honor teachers by giving them some sweet treats during that week as well. We also just want to thank all of our teachers, principals, and anyone else who's involved in hiring committees. We like to hire in committees, and get collaborative decisions, and that helps us to hire great people. But we also know that takes a lot of time for those individuals, spending usually after school, staying, a lot of times it's a couple to a few more hours to interview each individual person, and then helping us to make good collaborative decisions. So it's something that's very important to the philosophy of how we want to do things, but we do know it takes time additionally away from their families, and so appreciate their commitment to that, and just really excited about the decisions that they're making as far as our hiring goes. We also have heard tonight in a lot of the requests, a lot of teachers who are signed up to go on to PD opportunities, and again, a lot of those are outside of contract hours, and yes, we are paying for them to go, but they also have to make that commitment to be willing to take the time to go do that. And so appreciate that they are willing to go grow themselves in that way and better themselves for our school and for our district. So we certainly appreciate them as well. And looking forward to a great end of the year and coming up on graduation, which is really important for a couple of us in particular in this room. But so looking forward to getting to that as well. That is my report.
All right, item 21, we are adjourned.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
What day?